Coming up on KGNS News, temperatures continue to reach dangerous levels across South Texas. What you need to know to keep your electricity costs down this summer season. Plus, as the sun beams down on those crossing through Laredo's international bridges, CBP shares how you can help the commutes go by smoothly. And a reported road rage incident unfolds near a restaurant in East Laredo. A look at the images sent in by witnesses.
Coverage you can count on from your good neighbor station. This is KGNS News Evening Edition.
Good evening, I'm Jocelyn Gallardo. We continue our weather watch with today being the first official day of summer, and experts predict much of the country is in for a scorching season. Parts of the south are under excessive heat warnings, including cities like Laredo, Cotulla, Ensenada, Bruni, and Freer. That's in effect until 8 p.m. tonight. According to the National Weather Service, several Texas cities have new heat records from this week, and officials there are worried about a record-setting strain on the power grid. Experts predict above average temperatures in most states this summer. And talking about that heat we've been doing there, well, yesterday here at home, we reached those temperatures of 115 degrees. Now, let's check in with our chief meteorologist, Heat Wave Brewer, to talk about the heat we've been experiencing and what we can expect maybe for later on today into tomorrow.
It looks as if the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is the peak of this event. But it's not as if it's going to be over. Temperatures will still be almost as high as the hottest day of a typical summer for some time to come, even if we fail to hit 110. An average year gets up to 109 at one point, and we're going to be awfully close to that for the foreseeable future. But today, with the dry air stirring in, it started out humid this morning, but the dry air stirred in, so the heat index values actually dropped under 115, despite the air temperature rising above these numbers. We've been to 114 at least. The exception is Cotulla, where the air didn't dry out as much, so when you combine the moisture content of the air with the temperature, they have a heat index over 115, which is the threshold for putting up a excessive heat warning. But regardless, even with the numbers coming down under 115, we rarely experience that type of a deal. So this is something that you really have to take seriously, and you want to try to avoid the heat if you can, and you need to stay hydrated. I'll have more on the weather in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Heat Wave. AEP Texas, a major electricity provider in the state, is supporting a request from ERCOT for everyone to use less electricity during the scorching temperatures. AEP Texas follows ERCOT's guidance in asking residents to conserve energy, since they expect the demand for electricity to be very high due to the extremely hot weather affecting the state. A spokesperson with AEP in Laredo says that air conditioning is a big part of people's monthly energy bills, making up around half of the cost. That's why he suggests setting your thermostat to 78 degrees.
We know that some people do not feel that that's comfortable, but when you're coming in from 115, 78 degrees is actually quite comfortable. You can help maintain a comfortable temperature by using ceiling fans or other types of fans to help circulate the air at 78 degrees within your home.
Another tip from AEP Texas is to use your washer and dryer after 8 p.m. if possible. Not only will this help you manage your electricity usage, but it also takes advantage of the cooler evening hours when the heat from the machines won't affect you as much. AEP Texas says they are prepared to respond if any power outages were to happen. Nearly a week ago, the Laredo Fire Department responded to 12 heat-related calls during the month of June, but now those numbers have doubled. The department says so far in the last 21 days of this month, they have responded to 30 heat-related calls. The department says it's important to monitor how much time you spend outside and also plan outdoor activities during the early morning or evening hours. Just a reminder, the city of Laredo has 3 recreation centers open, serving as cooling centers for the community. People can escape the relentless heat throughout the week by visiting the Haynes, El Eden, and Fasken recreation centers. And we spoke with Customs and Border Protection officials about the conditions officers are dealing with, particularly while working at the local ports of entry. We're told safety measures are being taken for the officers processing traffic at the international bridges, such as taking additional water and dressing appropriately. Also exposed to the extreme temperatures are the canine units who work along with their human counterparts.
We have to be careful with them, make sure that they have enough water, that they have enough rest, and so that that there's no injury or harm to the canines as well.
We're also told it would be very helpful if people show up prepared with their proper documentations, so they can be processed as quickly as possible so traffic can move faster. Meanwhile, in our sister city, the Tamaulipas Education Agency is releasing recommendations of how to keep students safe from the heat in Nuevo Laredo. Classes will be in session for students until July 26. Mexican state education officials are asking teachers to keep kids from doing any outdoor activities. Make sure students drink at least 2 liters of water per school day. Sports and outdoor activities are being suspended for the time being. Students will also be allowed to substitute their uniforms for lighter attire. And lastly, if the classrooms do not have windows or AC units, teachers will be able to instruct students online. A woman is taken in by police after a road rage incident is reported near a Chick-fil-A in East Laredo. According to witnesses, a woman's car was bumped from behind near the intersection of Bob Bullock Loop and Clark Boulevard. They say the woman got out of her car, grabbed a nearby traffic cone, and started hitting the window shield of the other vehicle involved in the incident, causing it to shatter. Witnesses say that she had children in the car at the time of the incident and were allegedly seen being transferred from the woman's vehicle to a law enforcement unit. While the investigation is still ongoing, the Laredo Police Department said the incident has been identified as a case of criminal mischief. Laredo police are asking for the community's help as they try to find a suspect linked to a burglary case in downtown Laredo. According to LPD reports of the incident took place on June 7th at Tito's restaurant at the 1600 block of Water Street. Shortly before 7:45 a.m., the suspect can be seen on security camera footage breaking into the business, taking money and a cell phone. If anyone has any information on the suspect you're asked to contact Laredo Crime Stoppers at the phone number you see there on your screen. In other news, an agreement reached at last night. City Council is giving the green light for a new Border Patrol construction project. The River Road proposal was not always welcomed. Environmental groups and activists had initially voiced their concerns until agreeing to update the terms. The Border Patrol Union had said that some of those concerns were misplaced with misinformation like building a wall on the property. Instead, the union says the new project will give them access in areas to help them do their job.
Going to help us patrol better along the Rio Grande River as opposed to us patrolling in the neighborhoods. It's important to note that right now, without any infrastructure that we don't have here in the Laredo sector, most of our patrolling happens in the neighborhoods, in the Azteca neighborhood, in Santa Rita, in the town of El Cenizo. But by having these river roads, it's going to maintain our presence close to the river.
Construction is expected to begin in the next few months. The agreement allows the federal government to build a road on 6 miles of city property along the river. And here's a live look outside from our sky cam atop of our KGNS studios. You're looking at a view of West Del Mar Boulevard right there, looking pretty nice out there. Of course, we're not actually standing out there, so from the comforts of the indoors, that view looks beautiful out there. Not a lot of traffic. The sky is bright and shiny, and as we mentioned, that heat is here for us to be living through and keeping cool and hydrated. I hope you all are. Now let's check in with our chief meteorologist, Heatwave Brother, once again to talk about the weather. How's it looking out there, Heatwave?
Well, most of the state is blazing hot. The purple shows that almost all of the state is over 100 degrees. San Angelo was at least 114, which ties what was achieved yesterday, hottest it's ever been in that city, with records going back to around 1900. And Del Rio South and Tower area, temperatures easily topping 110. San Antonio was a little further above 100, but they have some showers nearby. Eastern Texas a little bit cooler. The air, though, you can see the dew points have dropped into the 50s, so a much drier heat going on in our area. You can see the 70-degree dew points, San Antonio north and east, still very sticky. I'll have more weather in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Heat Wave. Still ahead on KGNS News, rescuers are in a race against time to reach a deep-sea submarine, why underwater search efforts have moved to one specific location. Next.
Dow Jones Report brought to you by your Texas.
Right now, it's a race against time, 400 nautical miles from the coast in the Atlantic Ocean, as search crews comb the sea for a submersible that went missing while taking passengers on a tour nearly 13,000 feet below the water to explore the wreckage of the Titanic on Sunday. Chris Wynn is in Boston with the very latest this evening.
The minutes melt away on search crews' potential to find people alive as oxygen runs short on board the missing Titan submersible.
The surface search is now approximately 2 times the size of Connecticut, and the subsurface search is up to 2.5 miles deep, exponentially expanding the size of the search area.
The longer it takes, the less likely that, a positive outcome will occur.
But all hope is not lost. Cutting through the darkness of the deep sea, consistent banging noises have been detected during the search.
We don't know the source of that noise, but we've shared that information with Navy experts to classify it. In the meantime, it's a target, it's a focus for us to look at. And so we've deployed the remote operated vehicles and the surface vessel, the Canadian Coast Guard surface vessel that has sonar capability in the vicinity.
You can't ignore the banging, and you don't have time to wait to analyze the sounds exactly. So you have to assume, I think, that they're human-made.
Until the sub is found, there's more questions than answers as to what happened. Right now, all experts can do is speculate.
Was there a problem with the porthole? Was it a problem with the pressure? Was it a problem with the valve? But if a submersible doesn't go back to the surface on itself, on its own, it's really that there is a deep problem.
In Boston, I'm Chris Wynn.
While everyone is trying to stay cool in the heat, we take a look at how one safari makes sure their exotic residents are kept safe during the summer. That story next.
We are at 113. The dew point has lowered to 54, so that actually brings the heat index down to a not so comfortable 112. This is still a very serious situation that demands respect and caution. The winds have been light. We hit 114. That's 3 days in a row at 114. This is the first time in the Laredo weather records, which go back to 1895, that we've had 3 days in a row to get to even over 111. This has never happened before. The low of the day tied the record for the warmest low of the day on this date set in 2019. I'll have my full weather report in a few minutes.
Firefighters everywhere. We're always called.
As scorching temperatures continue to shatter records, one local animal park is taking steps to keep their animals safe and comfortable in the blistering heat. Laredo Safari and Adventure Park on Manganaheim Road has a team of staff members who make sure the animals stay cool. One of the animals, like giraffes and camels, are used to the heat and naturally seek relief in the watering holes spread throughout the park. While these heat-adapted animals can handle the high temperatures, the smaller animals like lemurs and other primates need extra attention. In the petting zoo area, they spray a refreshing mist to make the environment more comfortable for animals such as rabbits and goats.
It's time for your KGNS First Alert weather forecast.
Good evening. The satellite radar imagery shows Some thunderstorms have developed near the hill country, just nearby, just north of San Antonio. And when I showed you the temperature map and it mentioned that San Antonio had been hotter earlier in the day, but they're near the showers. These are the showers I was talking about, some of them pretty strong, and other showers in the eastern part of the state. We have the cap of desert air overhead, which is quite pronounced, and that would not allow the heat of the day, air being lifted from the surface, to be able to rise through the warmer desert air overhead. A few showers on the high terrain in northern Mexico, and those would dissipate very quickly if they were to exit off of the high terrain. So I'm not expecting any rain anytime soon. And you can see, with the exception of Freer, everybody in the area over 110. The thermometer in Cotulla tends to run a degree or two high, in my opinion, but even if you took 2 degrees off of that, that would still be a 114, and we have the 113, 114 heat going on in the Laredo-Zapata area. The winds are light, mostly out of a southeasterly direction, and the air is much, much drier than this morning when dew points were in the steamy mid-70s, but it was a very razor-thin layer of Gulf air capped by this desert air, which is stirred in, lowering dew points into the 50s, even upper 40s. But you can see the much more humid air with dew points in the 70s to near 80, and that will move westward into the area once we lose the heating of the day that stirs the atmosphere and taps into the desert air overhead. So by morning, it would just be very humid with lows around 80. It looks as if the hottest part of this desert air mass will edge a little further west, so we'll have a little bit more of a Gulf influence, but we'll still get up to 108 or 109 for the high of the day, and much the same thing on Friday. Temperatures starting out a humid 80 or so, and in the afternoon we're likely to get up to 107 or 8. So I don't really see much of a change anytime soon. We may be avoiding the 110 degree heat, but still close to what the average hottest day of an average year would be, day after day coming up. 80 and humid by morning, and right through the 7-day period, 107, 108, 109 degree heat, even into the mid part of the coming week. Ryan?
All right, thanks, Heatwave. Well, it's another big honor for a Tammy U golfer. Find out what Mauricio Figueroa is named to. That's next in sports.
Each and every from the good iron to the lakes, it's time for KGNS Sports with Ryan Daly.
Coming off a stellar spring, the awards continue rolling in for TAMU's Mauricio Figueroa as he is now an All-American. The TAMU golfer has been named to the NCAA Division II Ping All-American second team, capping off a junior year for the ages for the Dust Devil. Figueroa kicked off the year with a trio of top 4 finishes and only 4 tournaments this fall season, including winning the Midwestern State Invitational. The spring season would see him come up with a 4th place finish at the Jack Brown Memorial here in town and 3 more top 12 finishes. When it mattered most, though, Figueroa would start to play his best, taking 3rd in the Lone Star Conference tourney, 4th in regionals, and then holding the lead the first 2 days of the national tournament before settling into a 3rd place finish overall. All these accolades have him as one of the top golfers of the Division II level heading into his senior season. Switching gears to baseball, the Tecolotes are coming off a nice bounce-back win over Guadalajara as the 2 teams finish off their series tonight over in Nuevo Laredo. Los Laredo's got a run in the bottom of the 1st inning, and little did they know that's all they would need. So pitching staff shuts down the Mariachis. Brendan Brennan would throw 7 innings of shutout baseball, striking out 4 on his way to the 7th win of the season. The Tigers would play add-on baseball with runs in the 6th and 7th innings before getting a pair in the 8th for the 5-0 final. Now comes a rubber match with Guadalajara tonight over in Nuevo Laredo before an off day on Thursday, and then games here in Laredo on Friday and Saturday night. Sticking with baseball, a team from Texas will not be winning the World Series this season over in Omaha as TCU is out of the tournament thanks to a loss this afternoon to Florida. The Horned Frogs fell behind 2-0 after the top of the 1st. They'd kind of with a run of their own in the bottom of the frame, and that's where the score would remain for quite some time. TCU would break it through with the tying run in the bottom of the 8th thanks to the kid with Laredo ties as Anthony Silva comes up with an RBI double. Those good feelings don't last long as the Gators come right back with a run in the top of the 9th for the 3-2 final. That ends TCU's run in the semifinals while Florida moves on to the championship series where they will face off with either LSU or Wake Forest this weekend. We finish up with a little matinee baseball. The Astros and Mets in the rubber match of their 3-game series in Houston. Bottom of the third, where we pick it up. These teams already combining for 8 total runs, and you can add 2 more to the total. Chas McCormick going the other way with the blast. Houston jumping out in front by a pair. Into the fourth, that lead doesn't last long. We're tied at 6. Alex Bregman, though, he's been hot of late, continuing that today, slashing the RBI single to right. The Houston Astros jump back out in front. The very next man to the plate, how about some add-on baseball? Yanier Diaz taking advantage of those Crawford boxes, putting it a few rows deep in left center, lead out to 9-6. In the top of the 6th is back to a 1-run game. This ball smoked to left, but Corey Julks, a great diving snag to end the inning. That's going to keep the lead for the home team. He'd score an insurance run in the next inning as Houston, they don't need it. They win it 10-8, taking 2 of 3 from the Mets. Now they get a rare day off before hitting the road for a weekend series with the Dodgers in L.A. Well, that's a look at sports. Stay with us, though. KGNS News. We'll be right back.
Well, before you go, check this out. In an effort to beat the summer heat, the City of Laredo Parks and Rec Department is hosting Zumba aquatic classes. The class is called Aqua Zumba, and it will take place at the Reverend Deacon Leonel and Irma San Miguel pool. This is a fun way to take a break from the blazing temperatures and get in shape at the same time. Participants will have to be at least 18 years or older, and there will be a monthly fee of $35 to register. Those interested in signing up will have from July 1st to the 8th to register. You can visit the inner city pool at the address you see there on your screen. Classes will be Tuesday through Thursday between 9:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. The first class will be on July 11th. What a great way to keep cool during this heat. Of course, now let's check in with our chief meteorologist, Heat Wave Brother, for one last time. Heat Wave, just a reminder again, just the heat.
Very high temperatures, still above 110 at 7 o'clock, and temperatures will be pretty close to 100 at 10. By the time we get to midnight, humid, still over 90.
All right, thanks, Heat Wave. That's all the time we have for tonight's evening edition, but we'll see you back here at 10. Have a good evening, everyone.